conscientious with a boundless love for teaching and wanting what is the absolutely best for his students. As the director of the School of Rehabilitation Counseling, Dr. Lee's attention to curriculum, accreditation, and student learning outcomes are all integrated into his approach to serving his students. Dr. Lee has written 3 book chapters on assistive technology and numerous peer-reviewed journal articles that have been found perfect for integrating into the beginning undergraduate rehabilitation and addiction studies classes. He has presented at over 90 educational and rehabilitation education conferences since 1991 on areas such as areas diverse as assistive technology, adaptive computers for students, ethical issues in rehabilitation, grant writing, and strengthening Hispanic serving universities. It is our pleasure to present the 2016 Rehabilitation Educator Award to Dr. Grande.
Thank you, everyone. There was a lot of detail in that nomination, and if you're like me, my attention's starting to wane. The important thing is I love teaching, and I love mentoring students, and that's why I still do it after so many years. You know, some of us get these awards, like this one, because we've done it for a long time, and I think it was Paul Leon that said, you do it for a long enough time and do a few things right, and you get awards. And so that's part of my last encounter, I guess. People ask me sometimes if I'm going to retire soon, and they think I'm auditioning for another job, which is true. I look like Santa Claus, kind of. Well, I don't know. But I want to thank everyone that's been so important to me. My wife, Joan Reed, is here, who came in last night. We met working in the field. She has a master's degree in rehabilitation counseling. I want to thank my mentor, Dr. Juliette Freed, University of Northern Colorado, who I wouldn't be here without her. And I know there isn't a lot of time, but I have some great stories to tell about her if you want to get with me later. I don't have time to do it now. I want to thank fellow faculty members here, including the one who saw me this morning and said, "You're not going to wear that, are you, to the ceremony?" I had different clothes on at that time. I said, "No, I'll get dressed up a little bit." And mostly I want to thank all the students here, current and former students. One of the things that's kept me engaged and excited in my job is we got a PhD program about 7 or 8 years ago, and the joy of teaching and mentoring those students. So current or former PhD students, would you stand up and say hi? When we grow up, our PhD program at the University of Texas, Rio Grande Valley, when we grow up, we want to be like the University of Wisconsin-Madison. We want to have those cheesehead parties that I walk by and see. Well, we want to have our own, so that's who we aspire to be. I'm a professor, I can talk for a long time, I'll keep it short. It's interesting because my story, if I had more time, my story is similar to the ones that we hear. We know, I think maybe some of it's generational, I kind of hope it is. Some of us, we serendipitously came into this field, right? We hear that all the time. I'm hoping when the next generation talks, not everybody falls into it like we do. I tell students a lot of times, you know, in career advice, you can do this smoother than I do. You know, you don't have to emulate me. Like Michael Leahy, I heard him say yesterday, he said his thing when he was 13 or something was, can I be a baseball player and a priest? My big dilemma at that age was, which sport was I going to be pro? And that really was my goal until I woke up one morning and had a condition that I didn't get diagnosed for another 10 years, which turned out to be muscular dystrophy. I have a mild form of muscular dystrophy, and I could no longer be an athlete. And it took 10 years to get diagnosed, and that was not a healthy time or a healthy way to be. It took me time. And so I found this degree, or this profession, when I finally said, well, try to use this, you've got something to offer, use this to your advantage. It's not been a good thing. and I stumbled into this field. I was looking for a counseling degree. Tell me if this kind of sounds familiar to some of you. I had never heard of rehabilitation counseling. I went to the University of Northern Colorado because I lived near there. I went there to see the Denver Broncos practice. That's why I went there. And I stumbled upon this rehabilitation counseling thing. And it was Dr. Dick Wolf who saw me in the hall and said, hey, if you come to our program, we'll give you a scholarship. And I said, sign me up. That's how I got introduced. And, or else, you know, I would have been in counseling, but not this. I got a master's degree. I had no intention of getting a PhD and becoming a faculty member. It was not on my radar. My wife was a year behind me in the same program. I had developed this wonderful relationship, mentoring relationship with Juliet Freed. They were desperate for doc students. They recruited me to stay in the doc program and took off from there. So I have this, and like I know many of you do, this incredible love of teaching. I've been in higher education administration for too much of my career, like 20 years. I was an academic dean, and when I was hired in that position, I told people I would be leaving that position when I missed teaching so much that I needed to come back, and that's what happened. And I'll tell you Juliet Freed stories later on. So thank you for this, and I appreciate it.